is an unboxing video of a DSLR video cage. This one has been modified slightly, and I'll walk through that when I open the new one. But we needed cages for our G7s, our Panasonic G7s, for doing our live stream productions. So we watched some videos, and thanks to Caleb, DSLRvideoshooter.com, he suggested a few cages, and I saw this one. It looked like it would work, so I ordered one, worked out the modifications to it, and then ordered a second one, and that just came today. It takes a while to get them because they come from China, but their estimate of delivery was 9 or 10 days from now, so it actually shipped quicker than they expected it to. So let me show you how the modified one works with the G7. So we put an Arca plate on the bottom of the G7 and an Arca plate receiver on the cage so that we can quickly mount and dismount the G7s. And you'll notice that the camera, when it slides all the way forward, it actually rests against the cage, which adds that second point of stability. So it makes a very stable platform. The cage as it came did not have the Arca plate. We also put an Arca plate on the bottom so we can quickly move it from tripod to tripod. It also didn't come with the shoe mounts. I ordered an additional two, which will now transfer to this cage when we set it up. So our setup for live streaming includes the Sling Studio camera link. So this goes on the cage at this position, tightens down, and then we use the Rode Micro, and that goes in the front. Pretty good setup. You can still carry it by the handle. So that is the camera rigged up. Also, I can't say enough about the I ordered a micro HDMI to micro HDMI, and it's the small HD. I believe this one is designed for the focus, but it works perfectly. The G7s have a micro HD, and the Sling Studio camera link has micro HD. And this is a nice thin cord, and it works perfectly wrapping through the cage and back into the camera. So it works really well. And obviously the camera link links then to the Sling Studio wireless access point. So the cameras all wirelessly come back to the Sling Studio, and then we switch with an iPad, which works very well. So this is the new cage. Let's see if it matches the old cage or not. It's from China, so it has about 100 pounds of tape on it. So it'll be a little tricky to open. The cage comes disassembled, and there are lots of extra pieces. So I'll walk through it and show you how I set mine up. So the basic cage comes assembled. We don't need the box anymore. And packed very well, protected. So the cage as it comes is simply the base plate. It has capacity for 2 rods, also the base plate for the camera, and then the top plate. And it comes assembled with the longer handle. I understand it doesn't always come that way, but that's the way my last one came, and that's the way this one came. As I said, it comes with a lot of parts, and it even comes, the last one came with not only all the screws, but also all the tools needed. And it comes with an extra arm that is shorter, and you can assemble it on the side, so it leaves less capacity width-wise, and it also makes it shorter. This came in handy for another project I had, adapting a head to a tripod. So it came in, the other one came in handy, and I'm sure I'll use this one. The handle comes wrapped separately, not assembled, so you can put the handle where you want, how you want. So in my case, I decided to move the handle forward. I also decided that I needed this plate reversed. So instead of having both plates face forward, I decided I wanted the top plate to face forward, but the bottom plate to face backward. So you have to disassemble it to get to that point. So I'll show you how that works. As I said, it comes with lots of extra screws and other parts, including 2 sizes of Allen keys. So the first step is to use the smaller one. And they're very tight, so you have to break them loose. Once they're loose, they're pretty easy to get out, as long as you keep the holes lined up and they don't bind. These are very long screws. They're extra long screws and some shorter screws as well in the kit. I actually like these kinds of configurable cages. It harkens back to my early days with my 6 brothers playing with erector set. You can make just about anything you want out of these, and use the parts on other kits and use other accessories from other manufacturers. So the first step is reversing the plate, and so it's a little bit tricky because the screws that mount the plate are actually buried below these rubber pads. So you have to kind of pick the pad to get access to the screws. And don't worry, because once you tighten a plate back up on top of this, it'll glue back down fine. They don't raise up, but like I said, they're down pretty good. This is extremely well made gear. I'm very pleased with it, especially for the price. I think it was around $60 for this kit. Very, very good price, especially for a cage that this is this configurable. I kind of wish it came with 15mm rods, but it did not. So now you can see the screw is underneath that pad. So you lift the pad back and you break the screw loose. And the only reason you have to do this, you could turn it so that the bar is then on the right side, which would probably be just about as much work, but I prefer the bar on the left side. It's very well. The screw is very tight. These screws are quite a bit shorter than the others. Now raise the other pad. I suggest using a knife to do this, but be very careful. My old Scoutmaster would probably not be happy with me using my knife that way, but it did the job. So now that we've removed the screw, we can reverse the plate. No need to take that screw out because we have to put it right back in again. So we just line the plate up to the screw. Tighten the first one down. And I will put the Amazon link to this kit in the show notes. Again, take the shorter screw. Make sure you're lined up. You don't want to strip the screws. And you don't want to tighten the first one too tight, which I did. You still want to be able to adjust. Get that alignment correct. There it is. Pop that rubber pad down. It goes down very well. So now you have the camera mounting plate facing backwards. Also, this extended plate faces backwards, and you can adjust that for the balance for your camera. There's several choices, places to attach it. The best place is here, so you can either have it come this way or reverse it. I left mine just in the same orientation it came in. So now when I do this, the top plate is still facing backwards. So that is the next step. So we're basically taking the whole thing apart to its basic elements and reversing two of the parts. We're reversing the camera plate and we're reversing the top plate. As I said, the construction is very nice. They're nicely machined parts. It's not really very heavy at all. It adds some weight, especially because the G7s are so light, which actually, because of the way it attaches and really not just the bottom mounting, but the top being snug against the top bar, it provides a lot of kind of firmness and protection for the camera. Yet it's easy with the Arca plates to get the camera on and off pretty quickly, pretty easily. Again, these are the long screws that go into the plates. So, just to be safe, make sure I do it the right way, I'm going to attach the bar to the base plate first so I can maintain the orientation. The machining is very precise, moving parts around. There's no problem with the holes, the alignment of the holes. The holes that accept the screws are inset, and then the rest of these are 1/4-20. So you can mount anything with 1/4-20 threads just about anywhere on the this side piece, but also on the base plate. It's like a mini cheese plate, and then the top plate as well. Make sure that's snug. Now I have the base plate facing backwards. Now I just need to make sure that I get the orientation right on the next plate. And so it's pretty easy to flip the orientation. It comes with a couple of screws, 1/4-20 screws in it. So I'll take those out. So when I mount the handle, I'll use the screws at that point, and they have to go through the handle anyway, so no point in leaving them on the plate. So now I have the plate, and I can use it in this orientation, or I can turn it over so it's forward facing. So now the camera plate is backward facing, this top plate is forward facing. Some people like the handle going backwards, some people like the handle going forwards. This kit lets you put the handle where you want and the orientation you want. The only addition we're considering for these cages is a side handle. And my son is an excellent craftsman and woodworker. He will probably make our own wooden handles designed to go on these cages for us. We like handcrafting whatever we can. This precision metalwork is just outside of our area of expertise. We don't have the tooling, and this is so well done, and for $60 it would be crazy to try to make it yourself. You'd be paying yourself 5 or 6 cents an hour. Okay, now we have the plates in the orientation that I want them. The reason I want this plate back is so that when I put on the Arca plate, the camera can slide in from the back and rest against this top bar to get the support. And I decided to put the handle all the way forward. You could put it anywhere. There's 4 different positions you can put it in, or you could put it sideways, or you could put it backwards. I've even seen some people try to mount it on the side. This particular handle won't work that way. And it's an interesting handle because it actually has a cap on the end. It's a screw cap. So you could do some other interesting things. And this handle has both 3/8, if you can see it there, 3/8 and 1/4 20. So very large and not as large holes. So now I put it in the furthest forward position. And the reason you can flip this top plate is because the handle goes in with 1/4 20. They're not the recessed smaller diameter screws that hold the side on. So these can be in any position. And they take the bigger Allen wrench as well. So now the cage is looking pretty good. I now want to take those extra cold shoe plates off of this other cage. I really put them on the side here just to hold them and keep from losing them while we waited for the second cage to come. So in this setup, one goes in the furthest 1/4 20 hole forward. It makes actually the cold shoe sit at a slight angle, which is not a problem when it comes to a microphone. And that's what we mount the microphone, so we can get the microphone as close to the source as possible. Oops. We're both audio engineers, and the first rule of good audio is getting the microphone close to the source. In a recording studio, you want to get the microphone, the right microphone, as close to the instrument as possible, or the best position to reproduce that instrument as naturally as possible. And in the case of interviews, which is a lot of what we do, or live events, getting that microphone forward, it's still not in the field of view of the camera, even with a wide angle lens, but it gets that microphone out just that much closer. Just even if it's a little difference, it's a plus. So now take the other cold shoe, and I put these on pretty good. And this one I put on the top. The last quarter 20 hole and the one forward. I don't think it matters. The two are forward and backward are not that far apart. That allows us to put the camera link on the cage close to the camera. So now you see the difference in height right now is I don't have right now a Arca base plate on here. A base plate for here, a camera plate for here, and then obviously a camera plate on the camera. But now we'll have two cages configured the same, able to handle the microphone and the Sling Studio. If we wanted to use an external monitor, as long as it has HDMI through, because the G7 otherwise will turn off, but we could mount that camera, the monitor on the side, or you could even mount it on the top. There's still room now, especially if it's a small HD focus. But unfortunately, that does not have HDMI through. So now we're set up. We have a big live stream event this weekend. About 600 people are coming to St. Louis for a conference, and we're doing live stream of several of the sessions. So we now have the cages, so we can put these on a tripod in a fixed position, or we can grab one of the cameras, and because it's wireless, we can go all around. So during the Friday night worship service, there's going to be a very large band with lots of singers and great gospel music. So we'll be able to capture that event by having some roving cameras, or leave them in the fixed position once the speakers are running the sessions. So I hope this helped you. Again, I'll put the links in the description for the cage, but also for the Arca plates that I like to use from Delkin Devices. It's a sliding but locking Arca system. So even when you loosen it, the plate won't come out until you release this pin. Then it comes out. So it's a very nice system that is just one more fail-safe. So camera comes on and off the cage extremely quickly and easily. So now we've got the ability to have two G7s running around on a cage, or off the tripod quickly with a quick release and rolling around. I hope this helped you. Thanks. Subscribe to my channel if you like this video and you want to see other things. We're doing live streaming. We also live stream and or do a multi-camera shoot of our local events, entrepreneurial events in St. Louis. So look for those videos as well. Thank you very much.